And we're going to be jumping straight now into the new Switch games for this week. Because yes, we have a pretty loaded week. But we have a lot of high potential games for this week. I just want to say a lot of high potential games. And we're going to start right away with Neva, coming out on October 15th. So in like 10 minutes, it could be available. Okay. So Neva is by the same company, if I'm not mistaken, that brought us Gris, like, or some people say Gris. Okay. But it's Gris, like gray in French. This game is coming out on October 15th, and it will be selling for $19.99. Okay. Now, we're going to watch the trailer. Beautiful game. And then we'll talk about it. We saw this in a Nintendo Direct lately. Now, I'm guessing that's supposed to be a fox and not a dog. So there we go with Neva. And one thing that we cannot doubt here is that artistically, beauty-wise, these are some of the most beautiful games on the Nintendo Switch. Like if you haven't played Gris yet or Gris, definitely give it a look. It goes really cheap sometimes on the eShop. I generally try to cover it when it is on sale in eShop deals, but it is looking absolutely amazing. The game is beautiful, and the gameplay this time looks maybe more refined than Gris, because Gris had a absolutely fantastic beauty to it. The gameplay was good, but was maybe overshone by its beauty. This one feels like they've maybe refined the gameplay, and the gameplay is going to fit with the look of the game. Let's just read the little blurb really fast. Neva is an emotionally charged action-adventure from the visionary team behind the critically acclaimed Gris. Neva chronicles the story of Alba, a young woman bound to a curious wolf cub. It's a wolf cub. Following a traumatic encounter with dark forces. Together they embark on a perilous journey through a once beautiful world as it slowly decays around them. I really, really hope I have time to play this game soon. It's looking absolutely fantastic. Like I'm at a loss for words, because this is one of my most anticipated games for this week. I'm just still working on Europa right now. I just finished Transformers, like I said, and I'm backed up on reviews. Like I have to do at least 3 reviews this week, or else I'm never gonna see the end of it. But definitely want to play this game. However, there's maybe only one game I want to play more this week in the list of games here, which we're going to get to a little bit down the line. So first game here looks extremely promising for this week. At $19.99, it feels like a fair price for the quality of work they put in. Definitely a consideration if you don't know what you want to play for this week. Next, Also releasing on October 15th, so it might be out in the next 7 minutes. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to give the little warning quickly. I'll give it now. If any of the trailers get muted in post or edited, that is simply because they got copyrighted. So if you're watching this after the actual stream tonight and you don't hear sound during the trailer, unfortunately, it's because it got copyrighted, and I'll be leaving the links to the trailers in the description of the video down below, so you can always go watch it for yourself if you're interested in the game and you want to hear the sounds. So next we have Drova, which the Forsaken Kin, which is releasing also on October 15th. This one will be $24.99. And let's read the blurb before we watch the trailer. So Drova is an action RPG that marries the dark, grim tones of its genre with the mysticism of Celtic mythology. Encounter a society where ancient restless spirits and divided factions battle for dominance. Uncover forgotten abilities and travel the secrets of a past shrouded in mystery. So let's take a look at Drova. Yes, Celtic mythology. So there we have Drova. Now, once again, visually, I think it works. And I'll be honest, in a quieter week, this would probably be on the top of my list. But there are so many games this week that I just don't think I'll be able to get around to this one. But I do think, yes, the Celtic mythology is one of the top things here. The art style, the darkness of the tones here seem to fit really well with what they're going for. Now, everything's going to depend on how smooth the combat is, because it's an action RPG. The one thing that maybe was unclear from the trailer is things did look a bit stiff. And obviously, if they're going for like a Souls-like, very deliberate combat system, it could still work. But I really like the vibe too. And yeah, the music seemed to fit in really well with the tones. Like, there's a lot that is setting this game up for a very positive outlook overall. But ultimately, this game is coming out today. Well, like on the 15th, which is like in 3 minutes. $24.99, however, is a little bit expensive. Okay, it's a little bit expensive, especially considering the other games, like I said, for this week. But if you want to take a chance on something that looks like it could have some really nice potential, this one could be one of those games. Next, we're going to do it really quick because my daughters would be sad if I didn't say it was coming out this week. On the 15th, also in about 2 to 3 minutes, we have Just Dance 2025. Woohoo! Coming out for between $49 and $74.99 for the Ultimate Edition. So you have a range of prices here: $50 for the base game, $74.99 for the Ultimate Edition. Just Dance is going to sell every year. My daughters are super excited to play it. I always wait till it goes on sale for around $30 and then I pick it up for them. So I'm most likely going to do the same thing for this year. Now, this trailer I will mute preemptively because I know it's going to get copyright struck, because I've covered the release of the trailer before and it got copyrighted the last time it was in a video as well. Because we watched the Nintendo Direct where this was announced and the trailer got copyrighted in it. So I'm just going to mute the trailer ahead of time. We're going to take a quick look at the game to see what it's setting up with. And then we will basically wrap it up for this one. We're not going to spend a lot of time because Just Dance is Just Dance. It comes out every year. If you want the new songs, the new vibes, it's coming out. Well, this is a moneymaker for them. It's a moneymaker. So you're going to hear me instead of the trailer while we look at it. It's a moneymaker for Ubisoft. So yeah, it's their cash cow every year. If there's one thing they know is going to make them money, it's Just Dance. Why? Because there's really no competitors out there. There's like no competitors that do anything even close to this. And you know, nonetheless, the games are fun. If you have like a party set up with people coming over and you want to just look like a, you know, like you don't really care if some people look dumb or not. Like when I do it, my daughters laugh every time because, come on, I have like zero rhythm. Okay. So ultimately, Just Dance 2025, you either love it or hate it. You either have kids that want to play it, or you pick it up as a party game, or you could be a super competitive dance maniac. I've played the online version, and some people, like, I can't even believe how good they have to be to get the scores they do, but it is funny. Yeah, I don't think many companies want to compete. Well, it's one of those games that, like, it's hard to compete with something like Just Dance because it's so predominant and so set up. And not only that, it's a big risk the first year because you have to license all these songs, right? So I know, like, it sounds dumb, but they actually probably have to front quite a bit of cash to license all the songs for each year. And if, for example, you were a company wanting to launch your first dance game like this, and you have to drop like, I don't know, like $2 million on licensing fees to risk the game not taking off, that could be a big risk. And I'm saying 2 million. I have no idea what licensing fees look like for songs like these in a video game, but I'm pretty sure we're talking big numbers, which is probably why other companies don't want to do it, because it's a big risk. If you're a new property and your game doesn't sell, you just automatically like dumped a bunch of licensing fees for nothing. So we have a Just Dance 2025 edition. Yay! Now, our next game also coming out today. I'm telling you, everything is stacked on the 15th and the 17th this week. Okay? We do have a few games coming out on other dates, but you'll see that the 15th and the 17th are stacked. And this is the game I was referring to when I said there was one game that had me more interested than Neva, just because the gameplay style is probably the gameplay style that I enjoy the most overall, which is 2D action platformer, okay? And that is Nikoderiko, okay? Nikoderiko also releasing on the 15th. By the way, developers, if you're watching the thing, I'm still waiting for my code, please. I would really like to get started on it. I would even put it ahead of finishing Europa at this point. So it's Nikoderiko, The Magical World, releasing October 15th. It will be selling for $29.99. Now, the little blurb is very easy. Join Nico and Luna on their quest in Nikoderiko, a vibrant platform adventure available on PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and the Xbox Series S and X. Sorry about that. My God. So now let's take a quick look at the trailer for Nikoderiko, and then we'll talk about it once again.
Let the adventures begin. We just need to find our chest.
Have you seen his army?
Mean, tastier lunch!
I think we can make a deal with him.
Big, scary enemy!
I wish there were more like him. Dude, focus on the road!
So that is Nikoderiko, the magical world. Now, obviously, I mean, if you don't see Donkey Kong Country resemblances, that is most likely the series they are most going after. But there are even some levels that look like Crash Bandicoot levels, where we're behind the characters, like this right here. So they seem to be blending sometimes the standard 2D perspective with the sort of like 3D lane perspective. Which to me is amazing because these are like games that I grew up with, that I love, which is why I said this is my genre. You know what I mean? Like, even though Neva is a 2D action platformer as well, this 2D action platformer is even more my vibe. Like, it reminded me also a lot of Kaze and the Wild Masks, which was another Donkey Kong Country inspired game. The one thing I'm worried about is the performance on the Switch, because graphically this can work on the Switch. It just has to be ported well. That depends when I get the code. If I do get the code, like, let's say a little bit late, if I get the code after tomorrow evening, then yes, we'll stream it. If I get it, like, let's say I check my email later on today and the code is there, I might start playing it before that. And basically, because I'm going to want to try and review it. But as of now, the code is not in. And I just checked my email just in case, still not in. So I'm hoping. Yeah, I know you guys would love to watch me die in this game. But either way, don't forget, guys, that we are not at a loss for games this week. And there's actually one that maybe I want to play even more on stream, just because it's a horror game. It's not a horror game in the sense that I don't think it's going to have us like jumping up and screaming because of the style of game it is, but it could be extremely fun. And actually, I'm lying again. There's another game I'm even more excited about than this. It's true. I'm lying again. I'm lying, but not voluntarily. Oh, by the way, side note, I'm picking up Balatro tomorrow, the physical edition. I know a lot of people told me you have to play Balatro, and I know I haven't played it yet. Bad Rick. But I'm picking up the physical edition tomorrow, which is why I said that, like, if I get the code tomorrow evening, I'm most likely not going to play Nikoderiko, because I am going to be trying Balatro tomorrow. Okay. It's just that's the reason I never played it, because once I heard there was a physical coming out, I just said, just wait. Don't get the physical, Rick. Why? What's wrong with the physical? I'll read the chat. We're going to move on to the next one, but I'll read the chat when you have a chance. Type it out. Take the time you need to type it out properly, and I'll read it. Next, so Nikoderiko, super excited. If you're a fan of 2D platformers, it's completely patched. I don't care if it's patched. It's good. It's just I'd rather have the physical, even if it. Like, I understand what you mean. Like, the patch isn't on the cartridge, so like, don't buy the physical. But I'd still rather have a physical that I can resell at one point than buying it digitally. That's the logic behind it. That's the only logic behind it. When a game is available physically, I just rather buy it physically than digitally, because I can never, like, And the point isn't to make money or resell, but I do hate the fact that when you buy a digital game, you can never resell it. You know what I mean? But I understand. Okay, well, I'll check that out tomorrow. I'll see what it says on the box. If it says you have to download everything, I might just keep the money for later then. Well, I'll check it out. Thanks for the information, Rodrigo. I'll check it out online on the website. Okay, getting back to the games releasing this week. We're going now to the 16th of October. So we have left the 15th, and we have 8-bit Adventures 2 on October 16th that is going to be releasing for $19.99. And this one is going to does have a demo available on the eShop. I have not had the chance to play the demo, but a lot of people seem to be hyped about this game in the community, and I did not have a chance to play the first 8-bit adventure. So I'll be honest, I have not played the first 8-bit adventure, but I will look into it after this to see if it's available and to see what people thought about the first one. But I did like the graphical, like it's old school, but I did like what I saw in the trailer here. So I do think this could be a potential for a very good game for people who like old school RPGs. Like old school. So that was 8-bit Adventure, and I forgot to read the little blurb, so we'll do that really quick. 8-bit Adventure 2 will be available on PC on January 31st, so this is the PC trailer, and it will be available later in 2023 on Nintendo Switch, so obviously it was delayed. Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, get another look at this upcoming game in the launch trailer, and get ready to embark on the adventure. Now, I do think that what the biggest problem this game probably has is its title. Its title makes it feel like a cheap, generic indie game. Like, you know, the sort of like cash grab indie games by calling it just 8-bit Adventures, okay? But apparently it's pretty good. That's what, because it's out on Steam already, that's why I said that apparently it's really good. And apparently it's not like some generic game. So if you like retro RPGs, apparently this is a good game to be picking up. But let me just see you guys by things. You're going to put the cartridge every time you play, and it's playing in short bursts. I get what. Okay, sorry, I was following the chatter. Rodrigo, you're still talking about Balatro. Perfect, and I'll catch up to it a little bit later. But I'm gonna just move on the games here. And sorry, you guys can keep the conversation going. I just thought we were talking about this one here, which is why I was trying to read up on it. So yeah, 8-bit Adventures 2 looks like a pretty fun retro-styled RPG. If you are looking for that old school, like Final Fantasy up until 6 looking games, I do think this one's going to be a really good one. Once again, I just think the landscape for this week is so busy that it's hard for this game to stand out. And like I said, and I get that the title maybe has some sense in the story that I'm not aware about, but at the same time, I do find that that is their biggest challenge here, because a lot of people on the Switch, like even on Steam, we're so used to seeing like bloatware games that I do think a lot of people are going to be turned off by this one because the title makes it look very generic. I understand that you're disappointed that everything is pixelated, my man. We do have a few unpixelated games, but that's where we're at with the Switch right now. Till we get the Nintendo Switch 2, most of the non-pixelated games that are coming out right now are made for consoles and that the Nintendo Switch has trouble supporting. Hey, Nikoderiko wasn't pixelated, so you've got a non-pixelated game. But I get what you're saying. And I do think that right now the pixel art games are intense, but for indie games, it's just so much cheaper for them to make than to have to make 3D models. Like it's budget wise, it's keeping stuff on the absorbable, like on the manageable side for them. Now next, we move to October 16th as well with Crow Country. My God, not county, Crow Country. And this is the horror game I was talking about. But then I remembered that there were other Halloween-themed games coming out this week that I at first forgot about. That's on my list a little bit lower that I could not see at that point. And trust me, Friday, we will not be in a lack of games to play. Okay? We will not be in a lack of games to play. But Crow Country still seems like an amazing take on the old school Resident Evil games, okay? Venture into darkness of an abandoned theme park to uncover the mystery of Edward Crow's disappearance in this retro-inspired survival horror game, which Topaz is walking in front of the screen. Come here, Crow Country, coming October 16th to Nintendo Switch. Let's watch the trailer, and then you guys can see what it looks like. I like that environmental thing that you can shoot the like switch on the rather than shooting the enemy directly. And there we go. Crow Country. So I think if you like old school horror games, and when I say old school, is that if you remember the original, not the remake of Resident Evil, but the original Resident Evil, like it looked very close to that. Maybe this is a little more chibi-esque in its design. The first Resident Evil was more like trying nonetheless to reproduce actual like human forms, like, you know, the people look like people. This does have a little bit of chibiness to it in the designs of the characters, but at the same time, it feels like an old school Resident Evil game. Or Silent Hill, you know what I mean? But like really from the PS1 era. I think this game has potential. I think it has a lot of potential. And I didn't read reviews, but from what I got little blurbs here and there, I think people are liking it that got review codes for it. Because I do think reviews are live already on the game. And I do think that it's reviewing well so far for what it is. So this one, as I said, will be hitting on October 16th and will be selling for $19.99. No, I didn't get an Alarmo. I explained why I didn't get one at the start of the video. So if you want to watch it again, it's like the first like 10 minutes, not even. I explain. We watched the trailer, then we take like 5-10 minutes to talk about it. But no, I did not get an Alarmo. Maybe I'll get one for one of my daughters, but for myself, it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. Okay, next we move on to one of the big boys for this week. Coming out on October 17th, we have Super Mario Party Jamboree for $59.99. One of the only first-party Nintendo games I do not get. I will not be buying. I know Mario Party can be great. I just personally am not a fan. Even though I have family and kids, none of my kids have ever gotten into Mario Party. Like, no one really gets into it here, so I don't buy it because myself, I'm not like a Super Mario Party fan. But I do think nonetheless, if you are a fan of Mario Party, this is going to be a great pickup. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I personally, not my cup of tea for Mario Party. And I love party games, but yeah. Yeah, and for me, it's like, even though I play with my family, it is hard to get a group together. We play more like 2 people together often. Like, I'll play with my daughter, I'll play with my wife. But getting a lot of people together at once doesn't happen enough to get Mario to be worth a Mario Party. But let's take a look at the trailer, and then we will nonetheless, maybe I'll give a few final thoughts.
The latest game in the Mario Party series takes place on an enormous island resort. Get ready to jump into the biggest selection of Mario...
Oh, and by the way, there's like almost a 5-minute trailer out there. That's not the trailer I took. I took the 2-minute announcement trailer, okay? So if you guys want a lot more details on the game, there's a much larger trailer available on YouTube.
Party minigames yet in Super Mario Party Jamboree. First, let's see some of the new boards where you'll compete to collect the most stars. Take the escalators to travel between floors in Rainbow Galleria. Use in-game coins to get a star at half price.
I've got to say though that the
flash
maps look
sale.
like the funnest
But
maps
act
I've seen
fast.
so far of the Mario Party games.
Ride around and stay on track in Roll'em Raceway. With the new Turbo Dice item, you can move up to 40 spaces with a lucky roll. Here on Goomba Lagoon, the ebb and flow of the tide can change your path. And things really get mixed up when the volcano blows its top. Along with 5 new game boards, 2 boards from previous Mario Party games make their return. Some mini-games are action-packed challenges, speed trials, a battle of wits, and more. And some are controlled by gently shaking or tilting your Joy-Con controllers. With over 110 mini-games,
I don't want to
there's a
play
wide
with chat
variety
because
to
I don't want to
enjoy.
make you guys look bad.
Also,
You know, I
up to
just end up
20
winning
players
everything.
can go
It wouldn't really
head-to-head
be
online
fun.
in the Coupathlon mode. Compete against your rivals and aim for first place. Try your best to come out on top. Wait, there are even more new modes? The biggest Mario Party yet will soon be underway when the Super Mario Party Jamboree game launches on the Nintendo Switch system October 17th.
Us look bad. Yeah. I gotta get my licks in when I can. But no, but for real, like I know it. I've got to say, out of all the Mario Party games I've seen, this is the one that maybe looks the most interesting. I'll give them that. The maps look the funnest, and the games look the funnest that I saw. Like, out of the ones they showed, to me, these looked the funnest out of the ones I've seen. But Rick's talking trash. It's not talking trash when you basically deliver. And you know, since I always deliver, it's just talking. Talking trash is when you don't deliver. But since I deliver 10 times out of 10, you know, it's like it's just talking. But no, but getting back to seriousness, what isn't that from a movie? I deliver 10 times out of 10, or isn't that like? Anyway, it'll come back to me eventually. Or isn't that from a song? Oh yes, it's from with the. It's a remake of an old movie of a TV series that with what's his name, with Samuel L. Jackson, who delivers 10 times out of 10. Shaft. It's Shaft. Who delivers 10 times out of 10. Shaft. But yeah. I knew I took that from something. Like when I said it, I'm like, that's too good for me to just make up on the spot. But yeah, no. But jokes aside, I do think it's going to be a good game. If you like Mario Party, I do think this is good. It looks better than the previous one they came out with. My feeling though is they're coming out with too many Mario Parties. I actually thought that this was going to be DLC for the last game, considering how like that the other game came out last year. I do think that they're being a little bit excessive. Yes, I did watch Pootie Tang with his belt. That was the one with the belt, right? Where he let the Pootie Tang. And he hit people with his belt or whatnot, with a like massive like golden belt or something. Pretty sure that's the one I'm thinking of. But yeah, that's the one comment I'm maybe gonna say about Mario Party is that I do think they're starting to be a little bit greedy with their Mario parties. They should. I would think they should release a Mario Party platform and then release DLC for it at like $30 a pop, rather than trying to release a new $60 game every year. But obviously, they're making more money this way, so why not? Like from Mario's point of view, and this game's probably going to sell. But I think that if the community push backs enough and like maybe doesn't buy this one or the next one or something like that, if they do try to make it a yearly series, I do think like they would be better off releasing DLC packs for a Mario Party platform at half the price. But then again, this is a dream world because most likely this game's going to sell and they're going to keep doing it like this. But yes, so we have Super Mario Party Jamboree. Same argument for Pokemon, in a sense, yes. Okay, next we are moving on to October 17th as well, with Blazing Strike coming out for $39.99. Now, this is a 2D fighting game, and it is in Spanish, the explanation here. So I am not going to read it because I don't want people laughing at my Spanish. And I'm pretty sure there's some people in chat that really want me to give it a try, but I'm looking and there's too many words that I'm sure I'm gonna destroy. Oh my god. Like, I'm not sure how to pronounce series in Spanish. Series de juegos. I'm gonna try, but no one is allowed to make fun of the fact that series is just series, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. So, inspirado en las series de juegos de lucha arcade clásicos de grandes de la industria como Capcom y SNK. El próximo juego de lucha en 2D del desarrollador Rare Breed makes games evoca la emoción y la nostalgia de los pioneros. Sorry, I got it. Pioneros del género del pixel art en 2D. A la vez que incorpora un sistema de juego único con mecánicas modernas. And the worst is I know I have Spanish speakers in the chat. So yeah, did the best I could, guys. Like, there's too many words that I've never used. Like, I sound like Nacho Libre. Shut the ah! The worst is like if you guys don't know, my dad is Venezuelan. Okay, my dad is South American, so I can understand Spanish, but I speak really shitty, like you can see. Spanish with a touch of French, exactly. And that's my biggest problem, is that because I speak 5 different languages and Spanish is my weakest of the 5, and I'm not even going to say 5, let's say 4. Spanish is the weakest, is one of the weakest of the 4. Like, sometimes I get mixed with other languages I know when I'm speaking Spanish because it's my weakest one. So like, and they're all Latin-based languages, so it's yeah. But yeah, and there's a lot of words in there that I'm like, holy shit, I've never used in Spanish. But anyway, there you go, you got it. But it looks actually freaking good, but it is a pixel art 2D fighter. Let's take a look at the trailer now. Now that you've had your laugh, let's take a look at it.
Finish it right now or never. A full throw, a blow with the mask. I have to sever. Place and time from the full vibes line. Whatever opposes me, I will outshine. I endeavor to outlast whoever will try. Bad weather, the ship will capsize. Apply mad pressure. You will see my ugly side, cause I'm not going down without a fight. No, I'm not going down without a fight.
I don't like the close-up that they're using, though, for this. I would have rather them use the normal perspective to give us a better idea of the gameplay for the trailer. And I'm going to talk because I'm really under the impression that this song is going to be copyrighted. So there's a very good chance that this trailer will have to be muted after. So if it does, I'm sorry, guys. Well, actually, it's the ArcSys is making the game. ArcSys is making the game, so I'm pretty sure they pulled the fighters from their games. Woo! Rodrigo donated 490 CLP. Thank you so much, my man. Very appreciated. Very appreciated for being a good sport. Of course, man. I'm always a good sport. I'm here having fun, guys. There's no reason not to be in a good mood. And, you know, the more foolish I look, the more you guys have fun. So it's all good. But yeah, no, this looks like there were other trailers where you got better perspectives. Okay. But the other ones were, I was worried there was going to be even more copyright problems with them. So I didn't want to use them, but this one looks like it has a lot of potential. ArcSys knows what they're doing with fighting games. By the way, they make a ton of fighting games. They specialize in that. So it's made by a company that knows fighting games. So I do think that if you're looking for a new fighting game to get into, this one could have a ton of potential. The only thing here is the price tag of $39.99 is a lot for an unknown franchise. However, I think they know what they're doing here in the sense that they're going after fighting game enthusiasts. I don't think this looks like a game that's going to be very easy to jump into if you've never played a fighting game before. So I do want to give that warning. ArcSys games are not always easy to jump into if you aren't already a fighting game enthusiast. Okay? They are generally directed towards fighting game specialists. But that is coming out on the 17th, and I had to highlight it because we don't get that many fighters nowadays, especially on the Switch. At least not brand new fighters, because we just did get the Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom series. But yeah, now Sparking Zero does look awesome, and if it was on Switch, I'd be playing it already. Since it's on other systems, I'm just gonna wait till it goes on sale. Honestly, I can wait. Like I'm not hurting for gaming. Like I'm hurting for gaming time more than I'm hurting for games. Okay, so we're still not done, guys. We still got a few more games to go through, but we are getting there. We are getting there. Like I said, today was going to be a big show for the games. So next, we have a game coming out on October 17th called Stormedge. And this game is going to be selling for $14.99, and there is a pre-release discount right now, dropping it to $11.24. This game is... we're going to take a look at the trailer because there's no little blurb describing it at the bottom. But from my recollection, it was a top-down action game, something like that. Yeah, that's what my note says, just top-down action. So we'll take a look. Oh, it's a roguelite, actually. It's a roguelite. I remember now. Now that I have a visual memory. But yes, it's more pixel art. I like to that you can clearly see that there are different play styles. Like you can clearly see that some are casters, some are melee combat. Like there's clearly different play styles here. So that was Stormedge, and it's one of the cheaper games for this week at $14.99. But yes, it does look polished. However, it's a roguelike. We have a lot of roguelikes right now. So I do think that if you're looking to jump into a new one, make sure you check out like which ones are on sale first, because there are a ton of roguelikes that could be really good. Hey, look, we're getting my own video suggested to us. Awesome, man. I love this. I actually got suggested to myself. Nice. But Rick would die gloriously at this game. Man, Wild One, all you want to do is see me die in games. But yeah, it looks like it has a high potential nonetheless. But once again, I'm not going to watch my stream on my stream. That would just be insanely YouTubeception. Oh my god, yeah, layers upon layers. Layers. Wow. Layers. Wow. Do we get like a crazy reverb? Do we get like a crazy reverb? Do we get like a crazy reverb? Is it messing things up? What does it sound like for you guys? Is it messing things up? What does it sound like for you guys? Is it messing things up? What does it sound like for you guys? Is it messing things up? Okay, enough of that. We just had to try it quickly. Yeah, that was just like a quick mess around. I just wanted to see what it would actually do to... like, I would have had to mute it, theoretically, if we want to watch our own stream. But yeah, so that game is coming out on the October 17th. I do think you can keep an eye on it if you're aching for a new roguelike and you like the isometric viewpoint. There are still it gives like a Hades viewpoint, but it doesn't look like as room-based. I still would like to see maybe a little bit more of gameplay to see how it, like what the transitions between the levels look like. Are you always in the same arena and like waves spawn in, or are you like going from arena to arena? That's where I'm a little bit like confused on not confused, but I'd like to know, which would help me make a decision on, what type of gameplay we're looking at exactly. Okay, next we have on, once again, October 17th, a very popular day. We have Dungeons 4 coming to the Nintendo Switch, releasing for $49.99. However, it is currently on discount for $44.99. Now, honestly, I played Dungeons 1 and 2 on PC, I believe. I haven't, and I'm even doubtful that I played the second one. I know I played the first one. So I haven't kept up with the series. So if any of you have played the more recent entries in the series, I don't know if it's still like a series that has kept up with its quality. But, yeah, that's Angry Joe actually was suggested to me because I watch a lot of Angry Joe. So, but definitely, Dungeons is like, you have to like build a dungeon. It's like a dungeon builder. But let's watch the trailer. Let's see. Wait, was there a blurb first? Dungeons 4 is available now on Xbox Series X and S. Oh yeah, there's no. Also, this I wanted to mention. I could find no trailer for the Switch version. So this is a trailer for the PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. So that did worry me that there is no Switch version trailer that I could find. So I'm worried that maybe it's because the gameplay is subpar on the Switch and they don't want to show off the gameplay. So I do want to say that this one, although it's not in the official be careful section, I would be careful for this one, especially at a $50 price point. I would maybe wait for a review or two to see what the performance is like on Switch. Because normally I always try to show trailers from the Switch.
Hey, I'm back. Time to kick a little hero butt. Forward, creatures. Show me what you can do.
Okay, so basically it is a dungeon builder. So you are actually playing the bad guy and you have to build dungeons to kill the heroes that are trying to basically beat the dungeons. So you have to install traps, you have to get bad guys going. It's a strategy game, but from the other perspective, from the bad guy's perspective. And this one comes out on the 17th. Be careful for this one, but I do know that the Dungeon series on PC was really good. So I do think, like, if they can get it to run well on the Switch and have the controls well adapted, but I think nowadays a lot of companies have figured out the whole park builder or builder format on a controller. $49.99. That is a lot, though. However, but. Yeah, so Dungeons 4, I haven't kept up with the series, so I don't know if Dungeons 3 was very good and like Dungeons 4 has a high potential now or whatnot. But I did want to highlight it because it was coming out this week and I did think it was sufficiently interesting to mention at least. But this would be maybe one that I'm recommending to wait for reviews to see performance. But it's not officially in the watch out for section because nonetheless, the developer itself has not been known in the past for like crappy games and stuff. Now we come to our next game, October 17th. We have Core Keeper, which will be selling for $19.99. Now I can already tell you this is a pretty good game because it's out on Steam and I've seen gameplay for it on Steam. I've seen people play it live. It is a pretty fun game if you like the genre, and you'll see what the genre is in a couple of seconds. But basically, you need to grab your mining picks, explorers. It's time to embark on an unforgettable underground adventure in Core Keeper. Out now on PC, PlayStation, Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch on September 17th. So we are the last console to get it, but you will see it seems like very interesting. if you've ever played like Terraria or what's that other game that's like that a bit, Terraria or it's sort of along the same concept. We'll look at the trailer, then you'll see what I mean. Like if you guys don't see it, like it's a dungeon explorer / builder. So it's like you have to explore a sort of underground dungeon, and you keep expanding your territory, but you also can build as you go along. And you can actually play in multiplayer on this. So you can play with friends, you can play alone, but you can also play in multiplayer with other people. And you have like huge bosses to beat and stuff. And there's a lot of building, crafting. There's a lot of crafting, and what I really love too is there's a lot of builds. There's a lot of builds that are viable. So there's a lot of different ways to play it. Like you have melee builds, you have bow builds, you have gun builds. Like you have a lot of different ways to play the game, which is something I really enjoy because like I really like to be able to make your own build and then try crazy builds. And it's actually really easy to sort of like switch builds in the game and all that. So I do think if you're looking for a sort of multiplayer game single player or multiplayer game to jump into that you can easily sink a ton of hours into, this is going to be a great pickup for this week. It's $19.99. $19.99. So it is very competitively priced for the genre. I was trying to think of other games in this genre. Give me just a sec. Because if I go here... No, it's not doing a good job. Because I have a site that sort of tells you like what games look like this game and whatnot, but it's not giving good suggestions. It's you have to really use it with a grain of salt because it sometimes gives you good suggestions, sometimes bad. But definitely one to look out for. It's going to have a physical version as well, by the way. That's going to be selling for $34.99, but it is quite a bit more. But, you know, just in case you want to get a physical version, it was in early access for a good deal of time, and the developers did a lot of work on the game to bring it to where it is now, and now it is really a good game. So if you want to get into a game like this, this could definitely be a great consideration. It goes for up to 1 to 4 players online, by the way. So I do think that if you're looking for like a cheap game to get into with friends or alone that you can sink a ton of hours into, this is going to be a super awesome consideration for this week. Okay, so Core Keeper, good one to keep an eye on. Now we are getting to the end, guys. We are getting to the end. We've only got 2 more games in the suggested section and then 2 games in the be careful section. And we are going to move on to the next one. So our next one is Killing Time Resurrected. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not this is a remaster. I am not familiar with the original Killing Time. But based on the other games that the developers have done, I was interested enough in what I saw to say that this game could definitely be something interesting. Eternights, I'll check it out. It didn't flash to me. Eternights, I've seen it a few times. I'll check it out. It didn't flash to me, but you know I can miss some sometimes because I watched all the trailers, but it didn't hit me.
Welcome to the Conway State.
Tess, my darling, we're not getting any younger.
They will be soon.
I love the game here.
Your soul belongs to me.
You just have to lock them up in the wine cellar.
But I will pass not into the field of reeds. My body will keep time in its place.
So it's really like a sort of Doom clone, if you will, but with FMV scenes thrown in and a really campy look to it. So when I'm saying that this looks like a good game, this looks like a good game if you like campy looking 90s like games. And based on the other games they've done, because they've done a lot of remasters like this, the company's done a pretty good job. Like they did the remasters for Turok, among a few, like for almost all first-person shooters. So they sort of like know what they're doing for this genre of gaming and remaking this genre of gaming, which is why I think it's worth looking into. Now, the one thing on the downside, however, is it does have a $24.99 sales price, which is a little bit expensive to take a chance on for a game like this if it turns out to be not good, or especially if it turns out to be a game that lasts like 3 hours or even like, let's say 2 hours. Because I do feel that a lot of FMV games, the problem with them is because of the FMVs, they were not very long because the FMVs took a lot of place up on the disc. So they had to make the game short to allow that to exist because you just can't have that many FMVs back in the day when they were originally made. But we shall see for this one. I did think it was worth highlighting, however. Now, give me just a sec here. We have one more game, and this is probably actually my most anticipated game for this week, which I made a mistake on earlier because I forgot about this one when I originally said that the other one was my most anticipated. Eternight. Eternights. Oh, I saw this, but it didn't catch my eye. It didn't catch my eye. Okay, we'll take a look at Eternights because Champ has been adamant about it. This game is going to be selling for $29.99. It is releasing on October 17th. Whoops, give me a sec, guys. We'll start it over here. So let's take a look at Eternights.
You gave me a whole new way to see the world. A whole new way to see myself. I can't wait for the world to come back.
Get ready. Monsters are coming your way.
Can't you feel the love in the air? We're going out on a date. You just seem so confident. Currently, I'm scanning your mullet. Before the world ended, I was on my way to film a school drama. Get ready to burn!
One day, out of nowhere, it just appeared in my dreams.
You should have just left me down there with the monsters! We need to focus. We have 11 days to find the core and destroy it.
Guys, we gotta go!
We should get out of here.
But still, we were supposed to see the world together, fight it together.
Yes, everyone, get ready! I miss you. A lot.
Guys, it's coming closer!
I have to go.
So that was Eternights. Now, I think the reason why I didn't like sort of latch on to this one is the gameplay looks slow to me. And it just seemed like, I'm giving my take on it here. It seemed like a worse version of a Persona game. Okay, like it seems to be trying to give the same type of vibes here, like an anime Persona-ish type vibe, but more violent, like more gory-ish. But yeah, it didn't hook me. But wow, that trailer showed the final boss. Awesome. Don't you love when trailers do that? But yeah, so I guess if you're into the vibes of this game, you could give it a try. I just want to say it also released on other consoles on September 12th of last year, and I'm not seeing fantastic scores. Like I'm seeing sort of like between 6s and 8s, with more scores dipping towards 6 and 7s than scores dipping towards 8s. So keep that in mind. But I guess this is a noteworthy release for this week. Thanks for showing it, Champ, because I do think that maybe there could be some interest here in this one. Now, we get to my last suggested game of the week. And this is one that we've looked at before. Releasing on October 17th, right? No, 18th. We have Retrorealms, Halloween, and Ash versus Evil Dead. Now, one thing that I had not originally realized when we watched this is 2 separate games, however, running on the same engine, and each one of the games will be $24.99. So it is a bit expensive. Each game individually, Halloween and Ash versus Evil Dead, now they're combined into the same trailer here, but these are 2 separate games that will each sell for $29.99. And they look amazing. They are pixel art 2D action platformers based around the Evil Dead series and Halloween series. Let's take a look at the trailer. And then I'll talk about something even more interesting about this. Now, this is most likely what we're going to play on Friday, by the way, guys. I'm sorry. For anyone wanted to see Nikoderiko, we're most likely going to play this. I have to see when the physical comes out. Because there's a physical, by the way. And I'm wondering if it's not this week. So, this is my biggest release of the week. This looks amazing, and Retrorealms generally does very good work with their games. Now, there is something very interesting about this, however. When I'm saying that they're rolling on the same engine, they're actually rolling on the same app on the eShop. Okay? You are going to be able to play these games, you have to download an app called Retrorealms on the eShop. And then basically, Ash versus the Evil Dead and Halloween are being sold as DLC to the free app. Okay? So what that means, and this is why I said this is super interesting. I'm almost sure that this is going to be a start to a wider series where we're going to get more franchises coming in. Because basically, why would you build a platform like that where you have to download an app and then start buying DLC for games if you're not going to have other games come out for it? So maybe we'll get a Friday the 13th based game. Maybe we'll get an Alien versus Predators game. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can see them going into all of these retro series and basically building different games with the same sort of like platform. And I think it's a genius idea if that's what's going to happen. Freddy, yeah, a Nightmare on Elm Street. But basically, if you go on the eShop, you'll see, if you go on the Ash versus Evil Dead game, it's sold as a bundle, and you have to download the Retrorealms app, and then the Ash versus Evil Dead will show up like DLC for it. And then basically, and same thing if you go into the Halloween, you have to download the Retrorealms app, and then Halloween shows up as DLC in the bundle. So this is actually going to be really, really amazing if we do get further games like this. And this is really good. Now, I went on Amazon, and Amazon is saying that the physical version of the game is coming out on the 25th of October, like next week. I hope they're wrong. I'm gonna call GameStop tomorrow and figure this out, because I know I pre-ordered it there. Maybe it's the special editions coming out on the 18th, because this, I think, is the regular edition. It's the double feature that I'm looking at. Halloween, Ash, Switch. Yeah, because here the special edition is coming out on October 31st. But I'll figure it out with GameStop. Okay. Here's the plan, just so that we clear this up really quickly. If it is coming out on the 25th, we'll play the games on the 25th, because I already pre-ordered the physical edition, and I'm not going to double dip on them 1 week apart, unless I get a review code. If I get a review code, then we'll play them this week, and I'll just unbox the physical version next week, okay? But if I do not get a review code, and they are coming out next week, I might have to pick up, we will be playing it next week. And like I said, this week we can play Nikoderiko, we can play Core Keeper. Like, we're not hurting for games for this week one way or the other. So, good news, bad news situation. And I'll figure it out tomorrow, and I'll make a plan for Friday. Okay? Okie doke. So we've got that down, we've got that down. Now we have two last games to look at, but I want to be very clear here. These are beware games. Now, they could still turn out to be okay games, but the likelihood of these games being good are much lower than your average Switch game. The first one of these two is going to be TMNT, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And why did that pop over there? Rah. That's just my note sheet. Okay. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants Unleashed, which is going to be releasing on October 18th and will be selling for $39.99 for the regular edition of the game, or $49.99 for the deluxe edition of the game. And Why am I saying that this game needs to be watched out for? It is because it is made by Outright Games. So if you've watched the last couple of weeks, the Patrick Star game, the Transformers game, all of these games were Outright Games. Now, Outright, the one thing is, it's a publisher. It is not the developer. And each one of these games are being developed by different studios. What that means is one of these games could actually wind up being a decent game if the studio is good. However, most likely these games were done with a very small timeline and a very fixed budget, meaning that they won't delay a game or add any money in to make a game better. They just want to deliver a game on an IP, which is why Outright games often suck. Okay? They basically just want to cash in on IPs. And look, they've released 3 games over 3 weeks. They released the Patrick Star game 2 weeks ago. They released Transformers last week, and now they're releasing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game this week. Okay? So before picking this one up, please definitely wait for reviews. This could turn out to be a crap show, especially on the Nintendo Switch. Some of their games run well on PS5 and other consoles, but they often run really, unfortunately, bad on the Nintendo Switch.
Hi
And
again,
it's too bad
guys.
because I love this movie.
April O'Neil here, and I have some exciting news to share today. The Ninja Turtles are out saving the city yet again. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there are a lot of new faces around. Mutant faces. And not all of them are friendly. So, it's up to the Turtles to do something about it. Luckily, each of them has their own unique way of dealing with unexpected problems. But who are these new mutants? And what do they want? If you ask me, they look like proofs of concept. Or some strange experiments, maybe? Hopefully the Turtles can find out what's really going on. They sure have a bunch of friends to help them now. Or, not? And who's to say our turtle teams can't learn a few new tricks themselves? Or even make new friends from all across this famously friendly city. What do you guys think? Was that okay?
Yes. So, look, I'm not going to lie. There are parts of the trailer that look like it could have potential. Like I said, the one thing is I do not trust them to deliver a good product. And I don't, if it runs well, it might just not run well on the Nintendo Switch. But they are going for the exact style of the movie. It's very, very close to the style of the movie. So if you know, which sort of fits, because this is supposed to be the movie tie-in game, the movie that came out last year for TMNT. But like I said, it is very iffy. Please wait for a review before picking this one up. Let's not support a company that does cash-ins unless they actually deliver a good game. Maybe if they can see that, if it does turn out to be a good game, then buy it, because if maybe they see that putting out a good game gets them better sales, maybe they'll actually put the time in. And who knows, maybe Nickelodeon put some pressure on them to make sure that the game is decent. Now, I forgot to take down when this one releases. Let me just pull up when it releases. Okay, our next game is also releasing on October 18th. It'll be selling for $39.99. And this is another game to watch out for because it is being released by Game Mill. And it is called Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Stunt Mayhem. Now, the reason why I wanted to specifically take the time to talk about this game. We have gotten some pretty okay Hot Wheels games in the past. Hot Wheels Unleashed and Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 are actually pretty fun racing games. They do have some monetization stuff that that they're a little bit too intense with, but the base games themselves are good games. but they are not made by the same company making the Hot Wheels monster trucks here. This has been made or published, okay? This game is being published by Game Mill. Now, Game Mill is hit or miss. They just put out that Karate Kid fighting game, the Pixel one, that wasn't too bad. But they also put out Kong Skull Island last year, which was terrible. They also put up that Walking Dead game, which was almost unplayable. They put out they put out 2 Cobra Kai games where the first one was okay, but the second one was totally broken. So they are very hit and miss on their games because they're another company like Outright Games that cashes in on IPs, but doesn't necessarily take the time or vet the studios to make sure that they deliver good games. They trust the IPs to do the work for them rather than delivering good games. And once again, this game is going to be selling for $39.99. So do not get had with this one because the previous Hot Wheels games were good. This one is not made by the same company. Before paying any money for it, make sure that it actually turns out to be a good game. And with an only 40-second trailer, they don't seem to want to show off a lot of it. I'm going to talk a lot because this one is most likely going to get copyrighted as well. And when I talk over it, it sometimes stops the copyright from happening. But yes. And I'm sorry, some of it just looked totally awful here. Here where the, like, at the end where the truck, like, freezes in the air. Which one is it? Where he freezes and he starts, like, pivoting like this. Anyway. Well, Game Mill is not a development company. It is a publisher, just so we are clear. They fund the games. They negotiate for the IPs, but they do not make the games. Yeah, the problem is it's once again... It's once again a shared trailer. So we don't know if this footage is from the Switch, from the PS5, from anything. So do be careful with these trailers because they look good, but the problem is that we don't know what it's going to be looking like final product. So there we have it, guys. That was this week for the Nintendo Switch. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games with high potential and 2 to be very careful for this week. So we're getting into that time of year where it's massive releases. We had 2 quiet weeks. Now we are overflowing with games for this week.